You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinman. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is her courtroom. This is Judge Judy.
43-year-old Emma Price is suing her ex-husband, 44-year-old Stephen Price, for the cost to retrieve her car from the impound after it was repossessed. Stephen says Emma missed the payments, and so he owes nothing.
Come to order. All rise. Good day, Your Honor. This is case number 994 on the calendar in the matter of Price versus Price.
Thank you, Bird.
You're welcome, Your Honor. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
You folks were married for a short time and divorced.
Yes.
Yes.
And you are suing your former husband, because, you allege, he left you with a large debt.
Yes.
And you feel as if he should be responsible for half of the debt.
That's right.
You have a countersuit, sir.
Yes.
Some of that is nonsense. But basically you are saying that A, most of the stuff that's on the credit card bills and the other bills she's complaining about were in her possession. B, you paid for a lot of the things, mostly for the things when you were married. And C, you want to be compensated for all of the mental anguish you went through because of her.
Yes.
Mental anguish is a subjective thing, sir. You're no longer subject to mental anguish now because you're divorced. Got it?
Got it.
Good. So Miss Price, let's talk about these things you say your former husband is responsible for, at least in part. Let's start with the biggie on your list. Something about an American general. Now what's that for?
Well, we refinanced the car we had, because the finance company we were with charged too much interest, so we went to something that was cheaper, and we also took an amount I had already borrowed and he had already borrowed and just all collaborated it into one payment.
For the car?
Correct.
What car was it?
A Honda Civic CRX.
What year of car?
87.
What happened to the car?
It was since repossessed and sold.
At the time that you separated, which was in what year?
97.
Where was the car?
It was in my possession.
So you kept the car?
Yes, I did.
And it was repossessed because you stopped making the payments?
We both stopped making payments, yes.
Well, did you expect him to make payments on a car you were driving?
No, I did not.
So, the car was repossessed because you stopped making the payments?
Right.
What was your arrangement with her with the car, sir?
The agreement on the car was that if she would take back the car she would make the payments and make the insurance on it.
Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, that is correct.
So then why are you suing him?
He co-signed on the loan, and so he is equally responsible from what I understand.
Hold on. Let me understand this. You separated. You said to him, I want the car, and if you give me the car I'll assume the payments.
I never said I really would. I mean...
You just told me you said you would. You just told me you said you would, right?
Right.
So he turned the car over to you.
Right, but then since the loan is in both of our names...
I understand that. So you take care of it. You told him give me the car and I'll take over the payments. And you didn't. So, take care of it. You made an arrangement. Give me the car and I will be responsible is what you were saying, then you weren't responsible for it. He wrote responsible period, they repossessed the car and you want him to be responsible for half the deficit. Ridiculous. Next. That's the biggie. Let's go to the Sears bill. What did you buy at Sears?
Numerous household items.
Like what?
Television.
Where's the television?
In my house.
What else?
CD player that was in the car.
CD player that was in the car, that was in your possession, that got repossessed. What X?
Clothing for the both of us.
Clothing, well he seems to say that he bought a few items of clothing, right?
Yes.
What clothing did he put on this Sears card?
Work clothing.
How much was it worth?
I don't have an exact amount.
Well, then I can't give you an exact order. What else was on the Sears card? Anything else?
No.
No. That takes care of the Sears card. Got shocks. What kind of a store is that?
It's a department store.
And whose items were on that?
Both of ours.
What?
Clothing mostly.
Does that sound familiar to you?
Maybe a pair of pants and a work shirt. That's about it. And I wasn't even allowed to charge on the Gotchic's bill, so I had no access to it at all.
Whose name was that card in?
Mine. But he also had a card.
Did you have a card?
No, ma'am.
You have a bill from Gottschalk's?
I do not have a bill because I was not able to get those.
You get a bill every month.
I do, but they don't break it down.
We're talking about a $338 Gottschalk's bill, right?
Yes.
Half of that is $169, but you can't establish to me what part of the $338 was his clothes, is that right?
Yes.
All right. Let's get to your countersuit because that might take care of the whole ball of wax. You say that you borrowed $700 to buy this car, is that right?
No, it was $700. There was a car payment that had to be made, rent, utilities, and those kind of things.
When was that?
It was over a period of time, a period of about 3 or 4 months.
Was that right before you separated?
Maybe 4 months before we separated.
Oh, please, Mr. Price, forget about it, sir. Forget about that part of your countersuit, because you can't substantiate, this is kinda nonsense. Now tell me about this mental anguish, and be very, very brief.
There was physical abuse. I ended up having to defend myself a couple of the times.
When you say defend yourself, you mean she hit you and you hit her?
She hit me and I stopped her from hitting me.
Stopped her? What did you stop her with?
My hands.
Okay, is that why I assume you separated?
No, there's some other details in there.
You had mental anguish when you were living with your former wife?
Yes.
You're not living with her anymore?
No.
Ma'am.
What?
May I say that I had mental anguish also?
Good, everybody has mental anguish. Let me tell you something, folks. If you didn't have mental anguish, the two of you might still be together. You had mental anguish. You were smart enough to put a period and move on with your lives. Why you're still suing each other, I have no idea. Look, Miss Price, you didn't like living with him. You filed for divorce, you got a divorce, he defaulted, right?
That's right.
Put a period and move on with your life. Sir.
Yes?
But for the fact that she sued you, you would never be here. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good. So put a period, move on. Case dismissed, as is your counterclaim. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.